What's up, everybody? Welcome to the after show, but later it's your boys Z and El Kukui again. You might have heard him this week on the Cavino and Rich show, and I'm not gonna lie, sounded like Cavino was a little happy to hear your voice, man.
I hope so. I like Covino. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah, no, it was dope, man. I was working and I heard you. They were like, "Let's go to El Kukui," and I was like, "Oh," I go, "That's my homie." And I was telling you earlier today that my sister worked across the hall from me, so she had come to ask me something. I was like, "Hey, Joel, did you hear El Kukui?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's my homie."
Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that was cool. Oh, actually, you know what, man? Let's go ahead and we'll start with that. They were talking about getting rid of some of your old shit and actually making some flow off of it.
Yeah, I've always had the hustle bug, man. I used to sell baseball cards when I was little, buy gum at Costco, sell it at work. I mean, not at work, but at school. And I don't see, unless you're donating it to your kid, why not sell it and get some money out of it? So I've always been that dude where if I want something new, half of the motivation was part of it's already paid for.
Yeah. No, that was dope. Like you said, you got rid of your Xbox and then some games and shit.
Yeah,
And
I had
so when you went to get your PS5, that shit was like half price.
because it's crazy right now. So they're charging, they were charging $1,000 for the $500 system,
Hmm.
and my thought, I paid 825, and my thought process is if I get 300, for my old stuff, then that gap that I'm paying extra really isn't there,
Yeah, you're just
right?
paying retail.
Yeah, because if you'd have gave it away, you wouldn't have got shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just put it on offer up, and usually if you have good stuff, and we're adults, so we take care of our stuff, it's gonna sell in a couple of days, right? And you're just meeting someone 10 minutes away, so it's not a pain in the ass.
One of the things that I got rid of, and I'm kicking myself in the ass now because I had a shit ton of speakers. I had two receivers that were actually that I used to use to like record and do shit with this, but I don't need them no more. So I had put them on Craigslist, and it was six pretty dope size Sony speakers. It was like two subs. It was two receivers,
Oh
and
shit.
then there was some Philips speakers from like a surround sound or some shit, and I just threw that shit in there.
Right.
And I had put it on Craigslist, and somebody hit me up because I had put it for $50, right? And I was like, I'm just trying to get rid of this shit, and it was worth way more than $50. And I go, I'll fucking get rid of it, $50, whatever. Somebody hit me up, and then they were asking questions about the subs or something. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, man, fuck that. I went and I put it by my trash can. Somebody
Uh-huh.
took it in like an hour.
You want
But
to hear something crazy about, you just made the point about putting it next to your trash, they'll pick it
yeah.
up. I just bought a fireplace insert last Friday. And guess where
Mhm.
the old metal thing that held the log was, bro? It's right outside next to my tree. Hoping someone's gonna pick it up. It's
Oh, really?
out there right now as we speak. Yeah, it's out there right now.
Dang. And you know, it's funny though because people will see that shit, and they'll stop and pick it up. And I was like, I go, I know somebody would take that shit. I didn't know they were gonna take it in like an hour. I was
Right.
like,
No,
fuck.
and mine's been there for a day, so it's been there for a minute. But no, I put couches out there before, bro. I put recliners. If it's something I don't think's worth my time selling on Craigslist, and I'm just trying to get rid of it. Yeah, I don't live in the greatest neighborhood, and I'm in Fresno, and
Yeah.
they'll pick it up. It'll be gone in an hour or two. This one, it surprised me because it's been out there since yesterday.
I know. No, it's funny because when you're in the hood, they take shit that you actually want to keep. So when
Right.
you put shit out there that you say you can't have it, that shit goes fast as fuck.
Yep, for sure, bro.
They had that chick from This Is Us, Chrissy Metz or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Did you hear that interview?
No, I was working, and when she came on, I kind of tuned out.
Did you was am I tripping or did they have her on the show before?
I'm not sure, bro. To be honest, I
If
didn't
I'm
really
if
recognize her
if I'm
voice.
tripping, you could tell me. But I
Huh.
just I heard her on the show, and I'm like 99.8% sure they had her on the show before. Either that or I fucking heard this interview in my dreams because I could have sworn they had her on the show, and because I looked her up one time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I was like, it's that bigger chick from This Is Us. Okay, that's cool, whatever. And when I heard Cavino tell her it was nice meeting you and meeting you for the first time, and they kept saying that, and I even started listening, going, "Is this shit a fucking replay?" And then they were saying shit that was relevant, like they were like Ohio State and Alabama and all this shit, and I was like,
Right.
nah, I was like, this shit's live, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm just tripping because I could have swore to God that they had her on the show before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't even know who that chick is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kind of why
well,
that's why I tuned. I did when they had her, and I listened like the first like couple minutes, and I didn't recognize her, and I just paused it.
yeah,
And
my sister,
you want to hear the worst part about that
what's up?
is I don't know how many of their listeners were actually going to admit this, but you know what I did? Not only did I pause it, I went back to hear myself
Oh,
again.
you know what's funny? I actually heard you twice because when I got out of work, um, I was actually when I'm out of work, they're actually replaying Cavino and Rich, right?
Okay.
So I was out of work and I was driving, and I heard them go, "Oh, let's go to El Cucuy," and I go, "I get to hear this motherfucker again." So
Yeah, man.
I heard you 2 times as well.
Oh
So
shit. Yeah, that's I just because you know when you're talking, so you talk the first time, and then I don't know about you, but I always want to hear it, so I go back and listen, and then
yeah,
sometimes I even listen again.
yeah, no, it was cool, man. And honestly, it was funny. It was kind of like there's some people that especially if they don't call in often, like if you're like fucking Jimmy in Texas or something, you know, we
Right.
fucking Black
Jason
Adam,
Tampa.
we hear them every day.
Right.
But you're not somebody who calls in on a weekly basis, and you still like was like fucking it was just like you were talking to the homies, you know? So
Well,
I was like, damn, that
they
shit sounded
they
legit.
they get credit for that. I'll be honest. I think the first probably 5 times I called, I was nervous, because I remember as a kid, we'd call in like the Arnie Spaniard show and the Jim Rome show. We'd call in back, when we were kids or whatever. And we were
Yeah.
always real nervous back then because I feel like they're genuine. I
Yeah.
don't think they're just it's not like they're going to make fun of you, right? You feel comfortable. I feel comfortable calling their show
Yeah.
because it's not really much different than talking to you right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And it's a trip. Like even I remember like one of the last times, it may have been the last time I went to the studio. And Cavino was like telling us about his day. We went in like October. It must have been October because he had taken Melody that day to the pumpkin patch, right?
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get Melody this and this, whatever." And we're like, "Oh, that's cool," And then later, I saw like on Instagram, he posted a picture of them like picking out a pumpkin or doing whatever,
Right.
and it's just fucking it's weird because they're talking to you just like I don't know. And I had tweeted about the dude that they interviewed, that Skylar Aston or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah.
And I was like, he sounded like really down to earth. And I had put on the tweet, like, despite all of his success, he still sounds like a normal dude.
Mhm.
And I'm like, for them, I think it's like times a million because I'm like, yeah, they're not the star of like a TV show that's fucking on right now, but I'm like, they have enough celebrity to where they could be dicks if they wanted to.
I mean, they've met everyone from Jay-Z and Beyonce to, all the NFL greats to, I mean, dude, they've shaken hands and had interviews with some of the most famous people in America, right?
Yeah,
So I got to give them that. But with that being said, they are extremely, probably Cavino a lot more than Rich, but humble. Rich is humble. He's just Rich. He's Dicky Doo. So he's
yeah,
got that cocky, arrogant side of him to him, but I think it's unintentional. So it's still, he comes off as genuine still, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think
They it was actually like it was cool hearing you on, and then like I said, when you hear they're like genuine like excitement to hear like an old friend.
right.
Like when they said you were on the phone, Cavino's like, oh, and then even after the fact, he was like, oh, it's cool to hear from, you know, this guy in Al Kukui. And I'm like, if you're calling Howard Stern or whatever and you're fucking Joe in Pennsylvania, he's not
Right.
going to say after the fact, like 10 minutes later, oh, thanks for that call, Joe, because he don't give a fuck about you.
Right. Well, but I'll be honest to God, and I'm not just saying that because we're talking and doing this show right now, but they are the single reason I've kept my satellite radio subscription since I got it. Ever since I listened to their show in '06 or '07 or whenever it was, I have always maintained my Sirius satellite radio subscription just for them. And I because they put out good content. And it's
Yeah.
not about, for me, it's never been about who they know or who they've been around, although they should get a lot of credit for that because they've interviewed a lot of people. But they're genuine and the content they create it's really relatable to me. And I think it's really relatable to all the people that chime in, because or we wouldn't keep doing it, right? I mean, I've been hearing Jason from Tampa for 10 years, you know, and Mark in Colorado for, so the content that they create not only falls within our zone of what we're looking for to be entertained and that we can relate to, but they're humble, right? And they just invite anybody to the studio, and there's not a lot of shows that are on Sirius XM that are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, that's one thing that I've been kind of like bummed about, because when it comes to like COVID, and I know California is like pretty crazy with their lockdown or whatever, but honestly in Arizona here, we're fucking living like almost normal, you know? I mean,
Right.
besides the fact, like, I work for a community college, the entire campus is back on campus now. The entire employees, 100% of people are back on campus.
Right.
When we go to restaurants, the only difference, honestly, the only difference is you have to wear a mask, you know.
Right.
And when you're going to a restaurant, you take it down once you start eating or whatever.
Right.
But that's one of the biggest things where I'm like, fuck, man, it kind of sucks, because like some people that are more locked down than us, you know, they can't go see, you know, like a movie or whatever. But for me, I'm like, fuck, man, I can't go to the studio, and I don't know when we'll be able to go to the studio, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure, bro. And that's I had a couple of weeks off, and that was what I was wanting to do, you know, and it just kind of go in that studio, because just to kind of watch them in action is just a different vibe. Even, you know, it's the same content, but just going in there's just something to be said about that. It's almost like going to Disneyland in a sense. It's like it's a moment for you know, as adults. I mean, I don't know. They're good dudes, and like I said,
You know what? For me, and this is because I nerd out over like fucking like technology and like editing and shit, you know? Like, this is like, it's a hobby, but I fucking like, it's a hobby that I've invested a lot of money into, you know?
right.
And so I like being there, like at the studio, and seeing like even shit where like Rich is like talking and Spot's in the background like telling him to wrap it up or whatever, and I'm like, ooh, I'm like, that's behind the scenes shit, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, that was one thing that I dug, and I'm so grateful to SiriusXM and allowing us
Yes.
to do the town hall, because that was something that was freaking, as somebody who not only like nerds out on like technology and shit, but like just being able to see like Ralph Macchio and freaking Martin Cove and them like in their natural state, you know, and like when they're like, oh yeah, you know, Sirius XM Town Hall, we'll be back after this. And then they're like, oh, Rich had his papers, you know, and they're like, oh, do we go back into the next one, or are we gonna take a break? And you know, like Ralph Macchio's like, hey, I'm gonna get up and stretch my legs, you know, and
Yeah.
then like Covino went to go use the restroom, and then like I
Yeah,
think
that makes
like
sense.
yeah, and it was like seeing all of that shit like behind the scenes, and
Right.
then seeing how they edited it, because I went back and I watched the town hall, seeing like where they cut, or if somebody like rambled a little too much and they fucking cut it down to where it's interesting to hear, you know.
Right.
Just all of that little shit is like, and it was cool because you know how like people say, oh, if I could be a fly on the wall, that was one thing that was cool. Especially like when we all went into the Zoom, you know, you see all of our little pictures, and like there's Ralph Macchio, like fucking Ralph Macchio,
Right.
like I could unmute my mic and be like, hey Ralph, you know, like
Right.
you're tempted to, because when we first got in, like eventually they muted everybody's mics and shit. But when you first got in, everything was open. Your video's on, your fucking mic, you could have muted it, unmuted it, whatever. And then like it was just fucking, it was like a surreal experience, you know?
That's where the nerd in me might come out. Hey, bro, do the kick. Let me see the
Yeah.
kick, bro. Let me see the
No,
kick.
no, and it's so it's a trip though, because then like you start fantasizing about shit like Mary Mauser, who plays Ralph Macchio's daughter. Do you watch Cobra Kai or no?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, it was funny because like yeah, she's cute on the show, but I don't know if they make her like somehow like look younger or something, but in the actual like town hall, she
Uh-huh.
looked like more her age, which she's like in her mid-20s, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wanted to unmute my mic and be like, listen, girl, I'm happily in a good fucking relationship right now, but if you want to do this shit, you know, I just got to make a couple of phone calls, you know?
Girl, I'll break your
Cause
back.
no,
Say the word, girl.
she looked really good, man. I thought she looked fucking like, I thought she looked dope. And, it's weird because she's not like, there's nothing about her that's like sexy, but she's like fucking, she's really like pretty, you know?
Right.
And as fucking,
How,
it was really cool, man. It
how
was
many
really
people
cool.
were on that?
There was 40. And you know what? So check this shit out. I don't know if it's because Covino and Rich were fucking promoting it or what, but 90% of the people in that shit were fucking Covino and Rich listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got on. I saw I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but I saw Joey Delorme or Delorme or some shit. I see that fool on the Carl page and shit, and then I seen Mauser jump in, and then I saw who else was there? Mario Rangel was there, and I saw all these names, all these familiar names popping in, and I was like, listen, I know because in order to RSVP, you had to email SiriusXM directly and like not because you know Rich. But I'm like, I don't know fucking if it was just a coincidence that it was mostly fucking Carl's, but it was either way, I'm fucking stoked, you know?
What about Mark? No Mark in Colorado?
Nah, no Mark, man. I was
No
ready to
black eyes?
fucking no black ice, no Mark in Colorado. Yeah, but it was actually cool because as if Mauser don't get enough love every day, he actually got to ask one of the questions, and
Really?
it was really cool because he had probably the best question out of all the ones that were asked. I think like 4 or 5 people got to ask a question.
Oh, okay.
And what do you call it? And it was something that was like a no shit kind of question, but like nobody, I mean, he was the one who asked it, you know?
Right.
And it was basically like for like your family, because all the kids are like in their 20s, you know? So they were like, for all of your family that grew up in the 80s, like, did you get like cool points with them or some shit? Every one of them was like, fuck yeah, like I'm more popular in my family now, you know, because I know Ralph Macchio, you know?
Right.
So it was cool, man. Like overall, I was fucking stoked with the whole event. And just like I said, to be a fly on the wall
Right.
and fucking see like, just like fucking Billy Zabka grab like his little fucking sunglasses and shit. And like everything about it, I fucking nerded out about, you know?
For sure. No, that was one of my favorite movies growing up.
I honestly, to be able to nerd out on a show that I dig and like the technology aspect, I was fucking stoked, you know?
Hell yeah. No, that damn kick, honestly, I mean, that was monumental, dude. I mean, for me, I was never a big Pee Wee guy. I know CNR always talk about Pee Wee. I didn't really watch Pee Wee Herman. I mean, I seen it, but I can't quote references. There's certain things they say where I remember where they're like or whatever he does. You know what I mean? So there's certain things, but the kick in Karate Kid, that was probably one of the most monumental scenes from a movie of my childhood. And
one of the most iconic things.
Oh yeah, there were other ones between, you know, like Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop, and there were other Ghostbusters and Return of the Jedi. But that kick, that scene where he's already beat up, right, and he's been getting his ass whooped in the match, and he pulls that damn move at the end to knock him out. Yeah, that's just, I don't know, that's a rush. It was a rush when we were kids.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's just, it's cool, man. And you know what? Honestly, like I feel like being part of just like the Covino and Rich like family, and I swear, like I'm not trying to swing from their nuts because like whatever, but just being part of like the fucking like little Carl family, I think it's fucking dope because like where else do you get opportunities like that? You know what I'm saying? Like to fucking sit in on a town hall.
And you're right. And to your point, even when we went, me and my buddy Tip Dog, we went the last time I went to the studio, I went with him, and you know we talked to Maria Menounos and downtown Julie Brown, and
that's fucking
right,
honestly that's cool, man.
And you know if you go there though, those situations are going to happen, right? So although I was kind of in awe a little bit in the moment because you know you want to still be in the moment, right? And it's a good experience. Those are things that happen that just listen to Covino Rich. And so you're right, to outsiders that haven't been following them for all these years and don't really know what they're about, they're much more impressed than we are. But we're
Yeah.
kind of we're spoiled in a way, right? Because
We really are.
we're
Honestly,
spoiled.
we really are. They had one event where I think it was at one of the like DBCs or something where Henry Winkler was there, and then I think Bruno Mars came in or something, right?
Okay,
And I'm like, it's Bruno fucking Mars. Like, love him or hate him, he's fucking one of the most famous people on the planet, you know?
for
And
sure.
for them, it's like,
He's a
oh yeah, we're
superstar.
chilling with our buddy Henry, and fucking Bruno Mars is right there, you know? Like, it's fucking nuts, you know?
What about Guy Fieri? Always fucking invites him to go everywhere, and Stone Cold. I heard this week too. I remember when he did it when I heard him a long time ago. He offered
Yeah.
to take him fishing or hunting or whatever the hell he offered to do, and yeah, no, they're definitely in a good position.
Well, remember what Dr. Phil told them? This ain't no Hollywood bullshit. You know?
Oh yeah, I remember
You
that.
know? And you know, oh, go ahead.
Well, that it goes back. I think they even relate and transition to those guys, right? They make people feel comfortable, and I think that's probably what's best element of their show is who would have ever thought Dr. Phil was going to say that? And usually, like us that listen to Covino Rich, we're not really watching Dr. Phil a whole hell of a lot, anyways. But we know who he is because he's a legend. So to see them get people outside of their own element and be normal, right? We can relate to that.
You know what? I mean, this is a change of topic, but you just fucking reminded me. I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but guess, all right, I'll tell you who you remind me of, and you tell me what show I started watching. When you said I don't have an accent, I don't sell drugs or whatever, I thought, oh, that's my homie Tommy right there.
Fucking Power, you watched it?
I'm watching that shit, bro.
Oh,
I'm like
dope,
that.
huh?
I'm probably like 4 episodes into the first season.
Yeah.
And a couple of things. All right, let me get. If you guys don't know what show I'm talking about, the show is Power on Stars, but I'm actually watching it through Hulu, so I don't know if it's one of the free shows they put on Hulu or what. But all the seasons are on Hulu. So one thing I'm not mad at is it Tasha or what's the wife's name?
Tasha.
Okay. Tasha ain't shy about
No.
showing them chocolate jubbles, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, she's not, dude. You wait. It gets better.
Episode 1, I'm like, all right. This shows what's up, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And then he gets in contact with Angie, right? And I'm like, all right. I'm like, wouldn't mind seeing Angie, you know? And then a couple episodes later, you get the Angie jubbles and you're like, all right. And then you're like, oh, more chocolate jubbles.
more Tasha. Yep.
You know? And then you're like, oh, in the back seat, huh? Making your driver watch, huh? I was like, yeah, no, honestly, this shit. And that's not all that's like keeping me in, but that shit. But I was like, all right. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. And, but just like right off the bat, I was like, when it first started, I was like, that's just kind of corny. On like the very first episode, they have Ghost kill that one dude,
right?
Like Miguel or some shit, and you're like,
right.
You're like, I don't know. I came in all like fucking pessimistic and shit, you know. I'm like, we'll see if this shit, you know, can get my approval, you know.
Right.
And then halfway, probably 3/4 into the first episode, I was like, oh no, this shit's dope. And then I ended up watching the second episode that same day. Then the next day, when I had some time, I was like, oh, fuck it. I was like, I think I put my daughter down for a nap. I was like, I got to throw on Power. And then I watched that shit actually, I think over the weekend was when I actually started watching that. But that's my new shit. And what's dope about it is there's fucking 6 seasons of it.
Oh, you want to hear something even better than that?
What's up?
After the 6th season, I won't play Rich Davis and spoil nothing for you, but I will tell you there's a spinoff that's damn near just as good.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, dude, and that's 2 seasons deep. I just
Already
watched the final episode of that one last week.
So Power's done.
Well, there's a spinoff though. So yeah, you'll see.
Yeah, but Power alone is done, and then there's a spinoff.
Yeah. But
Because
I
I
don't
didn't know. I saw the 6 seasons and I was like, wait, are they still making episodes?
know. No, they're doing the Power book, and it's I don't want to spoil nothing, but I'll just say that it shifts, and Tariq has a huge role. So right now you're watching Tariq, and he's little still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the spinoff, he's grown.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
right now he's still playing Xbox with Tommy.
oh yeah, no, it's so yeah, you got a lot to look forward to. I mean, even if you got curious and you wanted to just go check it out, but it's that one was still on Stars. I don't think that's on Netflix, and it was called a Power Book, or I forgot the exact name of
So
it.
it's a spinoff.
Yes.
How many is like Ghost in the real in this one? Or I mean, if he died, I mean, he could have died. I don't know what happens in the end of Power. But how like is there a lot of the original cast? Is there like a few members?
Um, how much do
Either
you want
way,
to
I don't give a fuck because I mean I'm just a few episodes in, so
Ghost isn't in it. Tasha's in it. Tariq's in it. Um, Tommy makes appearances in it.
cool.
Um, what's the white dude who's the prosecutor, the dirty one that works with Angela? Forgot his name.
Oh yeah. I know who he is. I can't think of his name.
He's in it.
Wasn't he
Uh,
like was he dating her in the beginning?
yes, no,
Or
the
is that
other
another
one,
dude?
not that dude, but there's another one. He's in it. He's got like goldish brown hair.
I'm trying to think of
Skicks. I forgot his name. You'll see him. He's in it. There's a couple of characters that come in some later seasons that are in it.
yeah.
So it's good. I can't tell you it's as good as Power,
Yeah.
but if Power's a 10 out of 10, it's a solid 8.5, and it's definitely it'll carry over and get you through because there's no more new powers. So it's the next best thing.
Honestly, I'm excited to keep watching it and I don't know how I didn't remember to fucking tell you that. And I almost ended this call without fucking even telling you, but yeah, man, it's one of my new favorite shows. So I appreciate that recommendation.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad you like it, dude. I'm glad you actually watched it and you like it.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking down. I'm always down for new shit, you know? And I was already ready. I was like, all right, I'm gonna come and tell him the show sucks. And then I came and I was like, nah, but I dig it, you know? I'm not gonna lie. Fucking them chocolate jebbles fucking drew me in and I was like, I could watch 5 more minutes, you know?
Yeah, dude. And see, I wasn't too hot on the chocolate jobos, but damn Angie, boy. I mean, she
Ooh,
Angie,
yeah.
good God.
Yeah, no, believe me, fucking Angie's my shit. But I mean, before I knew she existed, I'm not gonna lie, I was fucking
Oh, I'll
I wa-
smash chocolate too.
I wanted a chocolate milkshake after that,
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah, no,
well,
Tasha's bomb.
remember everybody, after show BL across all social media. I haven't shouted out the fucking social media in the last like 5 or 6 episodes, but it's there. Haven't put a whole lot of work into it, but check us out. You'll get updates for everything. And me and my boy El Kakui, we're fucking signing off, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.